Air and atmosphere. Air is a mixture of gases that make the atmosphere. The atmosphere is the gaseous mass or envelope surrounding a celestial body, especially the one surrounding the earth and retained by the celestial body's gravitational field. The atmosphere is most dense at the surface of earth because gravity pulls the molecules of gas toward the center of earth. The atmosphere is divided into four general layers: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. Troposphere: more than 80% of the mass of Earth's atmosphere and virtually all of the water vapor, clouds, and precipitation occur in the troposphere. The troposphere extends from the Earth's surface to an altitude that varies from 8 to 18 km depending on latitude and season. At the poles, the troposphere may extend up to 8 km, while at the equator it is about 18 km. In the troposphere, temperature typically decreases with altitude by an average of about 6.5 degree Celsius per kilometer, called the lapse rate. The top of the troposphere is called tropopause, which forms the boundary between troposphere and stratosphere. Stratosphere. This layer starts from tropopause and goes up to 50 km. A thin ozone layer is present at the height of 15 to 30 km. The troposphere and stratosphere together account for about 99.9% of the mass of atmosphere. Collectively, the troposphere and stratosphere are known as lower atmosphere. The top of stratosphere is called stratopause, which forms the boundary between stratosphere and mesosphere. Mesosphere. This layer starts from about 50 km above the Earth's surface and goes up to 85 km. The boundary between mesosphere and thermosphere, a layer above the mesosphere, is called mesopause. As we move up in the mesosphere, the temperature gets colder. The top of the mesosphere is the coldest part of the Earth atmosphere. The temperature is around minus 90 degrees Celsius. Thermosphere. It extends from about 85 km to about 600 km in the atmosphere. Within the thermosphere, temperature rises continuously and goes beyond 1000 degrees Celsius. Within the thermosphere, there is a relatively dense band of charged particles called the ionosphere. The outermost layer of our atmosphere is exosphere. It extends from the top of thermosphere up to 10,000 kilometers. The boundary between thermosphere and exosphere is called thermopause. Composition of clean dry air. Nitrogen 78%, oxygen 20% or approximately 21%, argon 0.93%, carbon dioxide 0.0355%, others 0.6065, neon 0.0018, helium 0.00052, methane 0.00018, krypton, hydrogen nitrous oxide. Light. Light is an electromagnetic radiation and represent a part of the electromagnetic spectrum 400 to 700 nanometer. The word usually refer to visible light because it is visible to the human eye. The wavelength of visible light usually range from 400 to 700 nanometer between the infrared with longer wavelengths and ultraviolet with shorter wavelengths. Visible light is also called photosynthetically active radiation (PAR) because photosynthetic organisms perform photosynthesis in this region of electromagnetic spectrum. Ultraviolet UV is an electromagnetic radiation with a wavelength of from 100 nanometer to 400 nanometer, shorter than that of visible light but longer than X-rays. Depending upon wavelength, three major ranges in UV radiation are UVC 100 to 280 nanometer, UVB 280 to 320 nanometer, and UVA 320 to 400 nanometer. The main source of light on the earth is the sun. The amount and duration of solar radiation intercepted at any point on the earth's surface varies markedly with latitude. Two factors influence this variation. First, except at the equator, daylight hours are the longest during summers and shortest in the winters. Second, at higher latitudes, radiation hits the earth's surface at smaller angle, spreading sunlight over a larger area. In addition, radiation that penetrates the atmosphere at a lower angle must travel through a deeper layer of air. In this process, it encounters more particles in the atmosphere, which reflect more of it back into the space, that is, making that sunlight much less intense. Effect of light on plants. Light from the sun is the primary source of energy for ecosystems. It is captured by plants through photosynthesis and its energy stored in the chemical bonds of organic compounds. Sunlight serves not only as an energy source for photosynthesis but also as an signal that regulates various growth and developmental processes from seed germination to fruit development. The quality, wavelength, and quantity, intensity, and duration photoperiod of light influence photosynthesis and many growths and development features of plants. Quality of light, wavelength, or color. The quality of light plays an important role in the photosynthesis and photomorphogenesis, such as flower induction, seed germination, and plant movements. In plants, photosynthesis occurs in blue and red light. In terrestrial ecosystem, the quality of light does not change much. In aquatic ecosystem, the quality of light can be a limiting factor. Both blue and red light is absorbed and as a result do not penetrate deeply into the water. Light intensity. The intensity of the light that reaches the earth varies according to the latitude, season of the year, and the time of the day. Variation in intensity of light affect the process of photosynthesis, growth, and reproduction in plants. Plants in general can be divided into two groups: shade tolerant species and shade intolerant species. In ecology, shade tolerance refers to a plant ability to tolerate low light intensity. Light duration. The duration of light regulates the phenological process such as flowering and fruiting. In plants, plants use photoreceptors such as phytochrome or cryptochrome to sense photoperiod, which they take as signals for many growth and developmental processes. Temperature. Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a substance. Temperatures at the Earth's surface vary from place to place, from night to day, and from summer to winter. It is directly related to the duration and intensity of solar radiation. The factors which influence variation in temperatures on the Earth include latitude, altitude, topography, vegetation, and others. Temperature has a significant effect on climatic conditions, growth responses, and activities of organisms. Temperature is one of the three major influences on global patterns of plant growth. Along with available sunlight and water, temperature determines whether the land will support dense forest, grassland, or nearly barren desert. On the basis of temperature conditions, world vegetation is divided into various classes as megatherms, where high temperature prevail throughout the year, and dominant vegetation is tropical rainforest. Mesotherms, with high temperature alternating with low temperature and dominant vegetation, is tropical deciduous forest. Microtherms, where low temperature prevail and vegetation is of mixed coniferous forest type, and hikistotherms, with very low temperature and alpine vegetation being dominant.